day 5 of the apocalypse. They're seemingly coming from every direction, reanimating faster than they can be defeated. Tier 3 boomers, ex-Academy superstars, all of them just roaming the streets of North America with one goal in mind. To wreak havoc on Tier 3. More of us are falling every day. I believe I'm alone.
Oh, thank God. Do you mind letting me in? It's me, Crimson, from CCG. Dude, the boomers are everywhere. I just ran into Saligo. Oh, it wasn't pretty.
Oh. Yeah, hey man, come on in.
Thank you.
So, I'm surprised that Bradley and Instinct let you get away. I thought I heard that they came back too. Whoa. Hey man, we can talk about this.
I'm sorry, man. I have to do this. It's the only way my boomer teammates are gonna accept me. Bradley said I have to crush every single soul winner in Tier 3 in order to make it into NACL. Please forgive me.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Tier 3 tonight, where we will be bringing you the all-encompassing coverage of the LCS Challengers League qualifiers in 90 minutes. My name is Hawk, and joining me one more time is my amazing co-host and potential murderer, Grapes.
Yeah, sorry. I think I was asleep for a long time. Something came up over me. I don't know exactly what happened. We're here now though. That's the biggest thing. We're ready for another episode of Tier 3 tonight, where the second tournament has begun. So we're going to cover the Swiss stage, get over the groups, and have some other content along the way. Make sure you stay tuned for the full 90 minutes.
Oh yeah, if you thought we were done after last week, psych, we're only halfway through. And given that it's the start of tournament number 2, we figured we'd give you a reminder of how the tournament works one more time. 32 teams are selected to compete in a best-of-1 Swiss bracket open qualifier, where from there, 16 of them will proceed to the double elimination best-of-3 group stage. After the GSL stage concludes, we will enter a best-of-3 single elimination knockout stage that concludes with the best-of-5 finals. Teams earn championship points based on the number of series they win, with the winner of this tournament and the 3 teams with the most combined championship points from this tournament and last qualifying for the summer promotion tournament.
And again, because we're halfway through, we do have some teams that have accumulated a good amount of points. And we could take a look at the standings heading into this second qualifier, where we have Aporia, the team that won the entire thing, up at the top with 120. Then Winthrop, Ole Miss, and Lotus, followed by an entirely new group of teams as well. Now remember, as we head into the Swiss stage, which is the format that we're going to be covering today, every best-of-1 win is 5 points. And that could actually become pretty big in terms of figuring out where teams will go and which teams will end up in the promotion tournament. And the tiebreaker for ties at the end of the second qualifier will be performance in OQ2. So this tournament may be a little bit more important than the last, but for these teams at the top, going to be very, very valuable to have those points on the board right now.
Yeah, worth noting as well, Aporia renaming to Blue Otter for the second tournament. It's the same team, same championship points, and we can take a look at how each of the 32 teams was selected for the second open qualifier. 24 teams were automatically slotted into the tournament based on solo queue rank, with the remaining 8 slots being voted on from a pool of, we had 39 total teams, so that was a leftover of 15 to go down to that final 8. Then, the 32 teams were then seeded by the committee from top to bottom. It's also worth mentioning that due to a couple of last-second changes to the tournament rosters of 2 squads, 2 teams were added in late, being seeded at 31 and 32 respectively.
Yeah, so you see here on this one, Pookie Bear's 22 seed was out. Every other team moved up, and Misfits, a new team, actually got put into that 32 slot, which was pretty important, of course, as we will talk about a little bit later. But we can take a look at the seeding. As you said previously, Hawk, Blue Otter is now the new name of the team that won with Aporia, but also some new exciting teams with the revamped CCG roster, Pulsar and Gentle Hearts making changes, and some new teams as well, like Fly Family at the 8th seed.
Grapes, we had this conversation on a Salty Runback episode that's going to air on Saturday, but we feel that the level of competition at this open qualifier is very, very high, and it's going to be extremely exciting to watch. But before we get started with all the action, we want to give a quick shout out to all of the community broadcasters and streamers that provided coverage for the open qualifier. Stay tuned till the end of the show for more information about live coverage for the rest of qualifier number 2. But for now, let's dive in to the first round of Swiss.
16 matchups, 1 to 32. Just the highest seed plays the lower seed, and we work our way all the way to 16 versus 17 with BlackRock Esports against Phoenix 5. A lot of exciting games that we thought were in store for this particular round. You see the collegiate matchup between UCI and Colorado up there, as well as, some other exciting ones that we can get into in just a bit. And I guess we don't have to waste any more time, Hawk. Let's start off with that top matchup between Misfits and Blue Otter. 1 versus 32. Shouldn't be too bad, right?
Yeah, Grapes, last time we showed the top 3 seeds just getting their easy, clean wins at the beginning, but hang on a minute. Misfits, they're getting an early game lead. They're finding a couple kills back in the mid lane. Yes, Lawrence does clean up 1, but it's not all smooth sailing for the pre-tournament favorites as they're picking up more kills.
Yeah, Baco with a great kick there on the Lee Sin, and we went back and forth a little bit. We know that Blue Otter, this team, sometimes slows it down a little bit too much in the early game, and this was the team in Misfits that was able to capitalize. We head over to the Baron right now. Red-white guns there onto Link, so should be a pretty easy take, but watch Baco once again on the Lee Sin. He's going to jump in and steal the Baron, but wait, it's not over just yet. There's still a fight to be had.
Oh yeah, there is absolutely still a fight to be had, as now Blue Otter, they got to try to get away. 4 members, and the flash, the engage is so clean. The seismic shove onto multiple. Misfits, look at them clean up the fight as they are going to win the 32 seed over the 1 seed. Blue Otters falling in the first round, but we're not done with round 1 as now we're into CCG against Zora Esports.
Yeah, this was a new look for CCG. Their jungler Yukino was a top 5 MVP finalist in the spring split, and they made pretty easy work here in round 1. Look at that scoreboard. It's 23-5, 18 minutes in. They are not fooling around. You also see Instinct getting some run here, was in the LCS just a couple of years ago, making his way down to tier 3 to help his team qualify.
Yeah, not only that, Yukino, a player that a lot of people were excited to see come back. He had a big game on the Xin Zhao this time around, and CCG, maybe rather unsurprisingly, going to clean up their opposite number after one more good fight. Even a big bomba onto Instinct's head is not going to be enough to stop Trevor on the support Camille, followed up by the Yukino Xin Zhao diving in, cleaning up kills, going even. And they're going to clean up this game, Grapes.
Yeah, they had a little fun towards the end, but you can see 40 kills in 25 minutes. Crimson on his signature Olaf. Very clean win here for CCG. Let's move on to another close game. Starting in the top lane between Reluminate and Benefactor's Revenge, we see Crucial on the Nidalee top lane, which is something that we don't see too often. It's going pretty well for them so far. 5-0, 8 minutes in.
Yeah, and, it was close in seeding, Grapes, but not a particularly close game as Reluminate, they came to play. This was a team that started last Open Qualifier 2-0 before unfortunately losing all 3 of their day 2 games to drop out, but that still got the nod of the committee, putting them around that bubble seeding, and in their first matchup against a team that we expected to be pretty strong in Benefactor's Revenge, pulling out a win like this is definitely a great way to get things started. Picking up a Baron, putting Benefactor's Revenge out of their misery.
Yep, 0-1 for them. We'll hopefully see them a little bit later on. Our last matchup was our match of the week coming into the Swiss stage with BlackRock versus Phoenix 5, and it was a doozy. Back and forth we went here with Baz on the Varus specifically, having a pretty good performance down there in the bottom lane. And at this Dragon, they find Phoenix 5, but, keep an eye on Baz. He's still cooking.
He absolutely still is cooking, and the engages as well from Pocus on this Rakan, even though that one goes wide. Look at the way they're able to funnel into the choke. Phoenix 5, though, hang on. They've been able to consolidate. There was a big hostile takeover across multiple, and even though they're behind, maybe they can start to fight back just that little bit, forcing BlackRock Esports away. And Grapes, now we're onto a soul fight, but look at the shockwave!
Zalt on the Orianna, potentially putting this one away. It went all the way to almost 40 minutes. You can see here the kill's still even by the end of it, but not even Baz can stop Decoy and the rest of BlackRock in this round 1, and they're going to be able to take it. Baz puts a couple more kills onto the board. But actually, it looks like Zalt's still going to be pushing into the mid lane. There's one more Baron fight that we're going to show you here, but BlackRock is a team that we're super excited about here in this qualifier.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And with how close that this game was as well, I think, Grapes, we had a reason to put this at the match of the week, and we were expecting these two to throw haymakers at each other just in this way. High hopes for both Phoenix 5 and BlackRock going forward, but the performances, particularly from the younger players in mid and in bot, is a good showing. We got that final Baron fight as, again, the hostile takeover is good, but at this point, BlackRock, they're just that little bit too tanky. Decoy heals just too much, even though the Baron dies. Phoenix 5 taking their win.
Yeah, Phoenix 5 getting that win over BlackRock here. That was a pretty big upset there. Baz on the Varus performing very, very well. We can take a look at some other results here with Colorado getting that win over UCI, Purdue Northwest with a win over Abandoned Kittens, and Castleberry, a win over Wang's Revenge, who was a team that we had some pretty impressive showings with earlier on in the year.
Yeah, and of course, Misfits all the way up there at the top as well, getting things done against Blue Otter, creating for quite a spicy round number 1, Grapes, as a lot of teams, I think, showing that there's a lot of parity here in this qualifier, but we still got 4 rounds to go. So, I mean, without any further ado, let's dive in to round number 2, where Winthrop University, they're going up against Misfits. Your reward for beating the 1 seed is a matchup against the 2. Blue Otter falling down to face the Sanchovies team, Pick Me Galio, at the bottom of the bracket. And, you know, like you said, Castleberry, Phoenix 5, those teams being up there in that 1-0 match.
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of really exciting stuff, especially from some of those lower seeds. And down towards the bottom, ending the round, the first day 0-2 is not necessarily a good thing to do. So we're going to cover a couple of these games, see what happened in them. Let's start off with that top matchup again between Winthrop and Misfits. Misfits, after getting that win over the 1 seed, are still going to struggle against the bot lane for the Eagles. Mobility and Chucky's on this Lucian Nami, getting 2 kills to start things off.
Yeah, unfortunately, they had to play against Mobility, which is not really something that anybody wanted to do in this open qualifier as Winthrop. I mean, they're just taking over. Mobility dashing in, one-shotting the Aphelios, and this one was a quick one. It took 30 minutes maybe, but it was extremely one-sided. Winthrop 13,000 gold in the lead. One final, albeit messy, fight perhaps, and they're able to close this one out, improving to 2-0 and not letting lightning strike twice for the underdogs.
Yeah, 31 minutes, respectable for the 32 seed, but as you said, Mobility playing with the Throps out as they get that win, go to 2-0 at the end of day 1. Let's head over to Castleberry versus Lotus, another surprising matchup here at 1-0. We're going to start with a dive down towards the bottom lane. Nightstar on his Azir, going to survive and pick up a kill.
Yeah, they're going to survive, but this was a back-and-forth game, Grapes, as it was Castleberry getting ahead, but this is still a Lotus. They know how to team fight, and they punish the overextension so well. Dredge line to follow up. They're going to pick up 3 kills and a Baron off of the back of this to equalize the game, Grapes. But after everything, Castleberry, they managed to win another fight, and here they come. They're still up a couple thousand.
Yeah, look at how they split Lotus up here. Geiger on the Gnar doing a great job, setting up for AHJ on the Akali. He had a phenomenal game. We're going to go to the Baron now. 10 kills in the lead are Castleberry. And even though they do find the kill onto Barlow, Porsche doing a good job to space things out, but watch AHJ on this back line. That's a one-shot of Forsen, and they're going to look for more.
Yeah, AHJ as well, keeping Robbie from being able to DPS in the fight. Something that Castleberry did so well in this game. They did not let Robbie hit, and it allowed AHJ to get a lot of kills. And in the final fight, Nightstar ended up cleaning it up with a Quadra, which brings us into our 3rd match of round 2. This is going to be Clown Gaming, our surprise group stage appearance from tournament number 1, up against It's Doomed. And Grapes, this one was a doozy.
Yeah, Frozen Titan on the Yone. Great start to this game. Clown Gaming up a significant amount of gold, but hold on. It's Doom with Blonde on the Cassiopeia, Midorima on the Kaisa. They're going to win a big fight in response, get themselves right back into this one to make sure they don't go 0-2.
Yeah, just such a nice commit on the mid wave. I mean, that's a high-level punish right there. Clown barely went too far forward, and they get taken down, but now around the Baron, here's their chance to strike back. Even though it's Doom, they pick it up. Paragon on this Ezreal. Both marksmen in this game having a huge performance as Paragon, I think he's only shifted forward in this fight, Grapes. Going in, firing the Mystic shots, not allowing It's Doom to escape with their prize as Blonde ends up getting picked up in the back half of that fight.
Not over just yet, though, as, you know, now it's actually going to be Clown going for a bit of an aggressive play, but look at Midorima diving the back line, getting away from the Fate Shield of Titan, and going to survive for long enough to make sure It's Doom stay in this one.
Yep, and they stay in this one long enough for an Elder Dragon to spawn. We're 35 minutes into the game. They're still down gold, but it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, they don't get the Elder. It's doomed. They're going to get run down. And here comes Paragon one more time. Getting taken low, 67 with the flash to try to clean it up. The Q not enough. And ultimately, it is Clown Gaming managing to survive. It's Doomed going to 1-1. Wang's Revenge, BlackRock Esports, Blue Otter, and UCI, all those teams seated in the top 16, managing to bounce back, pick up their 1-1 victory. Lotus, the only upset in the top half.
You also see Abandoned Kittens, who was a team in that top 16, falling to 0-2. That was a team that, Hawk, we were pretty excited about coming into the second qualifier, so hopefully for them, they'll be able to turn it back around. But across the board, it did look like the higher seeds did win. Nigel's last game against Nameless also was pretty impressive. But let's talk about one of the upsets that we had in here, Hawk, with Castleberry getting the win over Lotus. Two of their players, Castle and Nightstar, are also part of Grandview University. They've been teammates for a while, so I sat them down and let them settle any unsettled grudges that they had in a 1v1 showdown. I'm joined today by Castle and Nightstar, the jungler and AD carry for Castleberry, who also are teammates for Grandview University, and we're going to have them battle it out to see which of them are the greatest player out of this duo. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
I'm doing well as well. Thank you for having me.
How long have you guys been teammates, and when did you guys first meet?
We first met like randomly, not as friends or anything, just like through random tryouts, probably around like 4 years ago, but there wasn't much conversation or just like been talking to each other then. As teammates, we're like a year and a half ago now. We've been together for 4 semesters.
What made you guys decide to play OQs together?
I couldn't find a team, and I thought that Matthew's team was pretty good. First time I'm not like the best player on the team.
Do Yasuo for game 1.
Yeah, Yasuo's good with me. I'm a little nervous. I have not won that many 1v1s.
I mean, yeah, he normally has someone babysitting him. There's a lot of like 1v1 tourneys that are played on Howling that are just like free money that I play on a lot. If it goes to a third game, we'll do the third game on Howling Abyss. You're skin diffed, bro.
What do you mean?
There's no way you think Nightbringer's not just the best.
Wait, you have lethal temp? No, I'm dead.
Or you're so lucky that tower shot.
Nah, man, you just got, gapped.
Towers are broken, bro.
Oh my god.
You can choose second champion.
What about away?
I haven't picked that champ ever, so I think I've gotten this champion as Viego once. Like I've killed him and clicked his abilities for a second.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a caster. I still have not learned all of his ability names, so...
Grim Visage, Gaze of the Abyss. I can't imagine trying to cast this.
I have a feeling it's gonna be a while until you guys kill each other. Oh?
Bro, you have 5 more.
Yeah. We're not gonna play the 100 farm, are we?
Oh, he still got hit.
No one's gonna be afraid to play against GVU after they see us 1v1ing a
don't ban
Smurf.
play.
They're just gonna know I don't flex as champ now.
Okay, level 6. Really. Oh no, did he miss? Oh no, he missed the ult.
There's a shield, bro?
Yeah, you didn't know that? You're out of mana.
Oh, oh, that didn't hit.
I swear that they like just nerfed the range of it mid-game. Like that's hit every other time.
Oh, the dodge? Oh, it's over.
Why do I win the melee but lose the ranged one?
Alright, we're going Howling Abyss for game 3?
How about Yone?
Alright, I'm down for that.
Yeah, was there a reason that you guys named the team after Castle?
He just has such a huge ego.
No. I literally...
I can tell the intensity has gone up because you guys have stopped talking. Oh, going aggressive. Uh-oh. Takes the snowball. Oh!
Oh my god.
Oh man, that was close. Good game.
GG.
So at the end of the day, it was the 1v1 champion that ended up taking it. Do you guys have any goals for the OQ or for CLOL this year?
For OQ, it would just be see how far we can go. Top 8 would be really hard, but it'd be really cool to do. CLOL, win our conference, and push as far as we can in round of 32.
He's already qualified like a lot of times to top 16, so maybe this time top 8. Collegiate side, just enjoy collegiate as a whole.
Is you guys still gonna be friends after this?
Yeah, he's used to losing these. It's fine.
Thank you very much, Castle and Nightstar. Best of luck for the rest of the tournament, and let's get back to Tier 3 tonight.
Wow, you gotta love the friendly banter between teammates right there. You'll love to see it though. Shout out to Castle and Nightstar for sitting down to do the 1v1 tournament, and shout out Castle for pulling out the 2-1. But Grapes, we're only through one day of this amazing open qualifier. I mean, should we just pull up our third round and dive right in?
Yeah, so if you don't know, it's 2 games in day 1, 3 games in day 2, and this is where things start to get crazy. The 2-0 matchups, the winners will qualify into that group stage after just playing 1 game on day 2, where on the other side, the 0-2 teams have only 1 game to lose before getting knocked out. Those 1-1 teams, this is a very big momentum shift for each of them depending on how their matchup goes, and already we see some interesting games. I guess we could just dive right into it. Starting up at the top, I guess, with CCG against Gentle Hearts.
Yep, and Grapes, another one where the higher seed gonna easily dispatch the lower seed, right? Well, wait a minute. It's 11-6. Hang on. GHG is in the lead.
Yeah, CCG playing with some subs this time around. They're using Flocon in the mid lane. They had Red come into the bot lane here for this day because Instinct was not feeling well. Hopefully everything is all right and dandy for CCG in the group stage if they eventually get there. But right now it's Gentle Hearts with Soul on the Aatrox and Nori B on the Callista really helping their team get a big lead.
Yeah, and a nice hook into the shove right there. Nori B on this Callista had a huge game. Rocks 908 on the Blitzcrank as well. Probably one of the better support games that we had in this entire open qualifier. Nori B cleaning up that fight. They're able to get the big purple worm as well. But Gold Grapes still close in this one. Only 3,000 separating the teams as another fight breaks out in mid. And look at Nori B going in so aggressive!
Yeah, he's had to flash away from the shuffle. Now watch him go right back in onto Red. Has himself a double, makes it a third. With less than 100 HP winning this fight for Gentle Hearts gamers. They go 3-0 to start things off. They're already in the group stage.
Yeah, and that was definitely not one we were expecting. And now we're into another matchup between Team Fish Taco and Fly Family. Another one that we'd expect Team Fish Taco to be able to find the win. But look at BMFX on the Jinx. He was really fed this game, Grapes, and he got killed in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, Taco played the early game well, but if you do remember BMFX from his play back in 2022, 2021, get this guy in a late game carry, things start to get scary. You see here, it was Taco up pretty heavily, and now, all of a sudden, BMFX going crazy around this Baron fight, has a lethal tempo proc, getting stunned up, getting comboed by the Smolder, will eventually go down, but not before keeping this game very, very close.
Yeah, it was a 225 stack Smolder, though. I mean, it literally, Grapes, this game was BMFX against the world. Can he get Fly Fam over the hump? Team Fish Taco so far in the lead. Surely they can clean this one up. It's a really nice engage right there, but hang on. It's not enough. Here comes the Jinx. It's a double for the Smolder, but it's even more for BMFX. Fly family, they stave off the entire team from their base, and now only 3,000 gold separates these teams. This time around, it's Snow 2 getting caught out on the Rel, and BMFX, after the reset, Tony Top teleporting in. He's going to get melted down. TFT makes yet another misstep. It's going to be Fly Fam onto the Baron. They have their top laner, Dinka, back holding the base, and all of a sudden, it's Fly family in the driver's seat in this game.
They end up taking the Baron and finishing it off after being down almost 10,000 gold to Taco. They qualify early at 3-0. Let's head over to UCI versus Nigel's Last Tiles. This is a team that was seated lower, maybe Hawk, than people expected, but they got some really solid players, specifically in that bot lane here with Good Shot, Evan, Lai on the jungle, Zach also popping off and helps them get away with an early lead. But now look at the bottom lane. Cinna on the Tristana, trying so hard in this 1v1 and does end up winning. And now here's a fight around the Baron, and it's going to be a close one.
Another strong individual performance in the open qualifier from Cinna, but Nigel's, they want to start up the objective. Good Shot flying in, trying to clean up these UCI members. Does get killed though, and Grapes, this game so close. Neither team able to take a decisive advantage 30 minutes into the game, but there's a reason you've got the double AD carries as Smolder able to clean things up, keep things competitive.
Another game where Nigel's was down pretty heavily, and they end up extending the game out. They have this Kai'Sa, who's building full AP, by the way, as Good Shot one-shots Gorica, and of course the Smolder for Elias as well. Nigel's getting a win and keeping themselves in a good position here.
Yeah. Now, Wang's Revenge versus Clown Gaming, two teams that made the group stage last time around. One of them will fall down to 1-2 and be on the verge of elimination, and it's a very messy fight around the Dragon as Boiled Oil is trying to 1v3 everybody, but he cannot. It's a triple kill to Daemons on the other side. And here comes Wangs, though. They're going to try to equalize this one. TP's in as Deathwalker committing onto Paragon, the carry of Clown Grapes that we highlighted so much at the last tournament. He's down, and Wang's Revenge from behind in this team fight, going to try to clutch it out.
Yeah, you see Rapid there on the Rex side. Doesn't matter too much, though, as look at the top laner, Yao Yao, again on the Olaf, being unkillable in that team fight. Clown Gaming winning decisive team fight after decisive team fight. We'll see if they have another one in their bones. Again, Yao Yao just face-tanking the entire enemy
Debonair!
team. A really nice shuffle from Debonair to keep them in this one, but Clown looks like they have control after one-shotting Deathwalker, and they're going to pull off the seeding upset over Wang's Revenge.
Yeah, and it felt like no matter what Wangs did, every fight started with something good. They had the Debonair shuffle. They had the pick onto Paragon, but it just wasn't enough. Clown Gaming, they stood tall in the face of adversity. Moving on to 2-1, and now we got BlackRock Esports against Benefactor's Revenge. We already saw BlackRock fall to Phoenix 5 in the first round, and now things getting started early in the bottom lane as everybody wants to die.
Yeah, I think both teams really like their bot laners and think that they are win conditions, and you can see it right there as Smalls and Sushi both getting a little bit of help, but Sushi on the Smolder, the one to benefit just a little bit more. We head to this fight around the Dragon. You see Decoy on the Gnar having a good fight, and Sushi left untouched. This kid is 17 years old, and he is ready to destroy the qualifiers in his first ever tournament.
Yeah, Sushi on the Smolder. It was a very, very big game. Mom getting called in. It doesn't even matter. Pockets, he can frontline 1v3, no problem, because Smolder, once you're stacked up, this champion, so difficult to take down. And even though the early game was close, it was BlackRock that took a very decisive victory. Grapes, this time around, they're the ones pulling out the baby dragon and finding those wins, instead of what happened at the end of last tournament.
Yeah, good stuff for Clown. They stay alive here in this group, going up to 2-1 after suffering that first round loss. Across the board, another, pretty normal stuff up there at the top with Gentle Hearts and Fly Family, as you saw. Moving on with Winthrop and Ole Miss, also keeping their hot spots in the group stage alive. Down towards the bottom, got to keep an eye on some of these teams. Nameless getting a win over Zora. Abandoned Kittens, who started the season 0-2, getting that win to keep themselves alive as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Pick Me Galio, Zora Esports, Gravity, Kosa, they are the first to fall, but we still have a lot more on the docket as everybody else still alive in the tournament, but only at this point 12 slots remaining for them to snap up. And Grapes, a lot of them are going to be decided here in round number 4. As we can put our matchups up on the screen at the top, Winthrop against Gentle Hearts and Ole Miss against Fly Fam. 2 teams that we did not expect to be here against our 2 collegiate powerhouses. And down there in the 2-1 matches, I mean, Grapes, some of our pre-tournament favorites, not expected to be here. They now have still yet to qualify for that group stage.
The good thing is that they get to play some lower seeds, although we've seen some lower seeds pull off some upsets. And I think towards that 3-0, we should focus on why this is that important, because we talked earlier in the show about how we thought that, there's a very solid 6 teams that are going to be very, very strong. Getting one of those top 2 seeds means you avoid one of the other ones in the group stage. And so getting to 4-0, getting to that qualification match, going to be very, very important. Almost as important as some of those 1 and 2 matches, for instance, where those losers will be eliminated.
Yeah, collegiate rubber match between Pacific Northwest and Colorado. You've also got UCI against Cinderella Misfits. Lots to be decided here in round 4 as we can start the highlights on your screen. Getting started with yet another Winthrop University matchup up against Gentle Hearts. And Grapes, Mobility, for the second time in the highlights today, he is on the Lucian and he's getting early kills.
A lot of the time, I think I see Lucians and I'm like, oh, I'm not super excited because if it doesn't get ahead really easily in the early game, it does not feel as strong as some of those other 80 carries. But despite the counter of the Draven for Inori B, Mobility still able to pop off and as being one of the best carries in this entire tournament. A nice Pop Blossom by Ariandel to keep themselves in this one, but it looks like Winthrop, they're up so big.
Yeah.
Look at that kill score. They haven't even gotten one.
Yeah, Grapes, this was a game in which it felt like once that dive failed for Inori B, it was a complete wrap. And look at this, 19 minutes into the game, 23-2. They are going to get a kill, 1,000 gold on Immobility, but it is completely doomed. Winthrop in sub 20 minutes blast Gentle Hearts to improve to 4-0. Gentle Hearts, again, they've already qualified, so this game not meaning the most, but that is a statement win.
Man, their game against Misfits was 12 minutes longer. I mean, that was a destruction for Winthrop. Let's head over to our other 3-0 matchup between Ole Miss and Fly Family. Shogo on the Varus alongside Rhino. Not going to be deterred by this gank. And while Shogo was able to escape, allowing for Uncle Sam to come down, and now Ole Miss able to take control. Hey, Marty on Azir. That's a new sight. I like it.
Yeah, he had a couple solo kills in this game as well, Graves. Having a really nice game for himself in the 2v1, improving to 5-0 on the KDA. And Graves, the kill score may be close, but the gold is not. Ole Miss 9,000 now in the lead. The shuffle does go wide, though, for Marty right there, as your Uncle Sam forced to kite away, and things going to start to break down. But just keep your eyes on Shogo. That's one snipe, taking the jungler to half HP. Here now on to Skytech, getting the kills, even though it looks like their opposition, Fly Fam, they're winning the fight. The health bar is too low. That's going to be a third snipe for Shogo. He's onto a triple kill, charging up another arrow as Goo is looking to escape. He hits that one. That's a quadra kill. Now Dinka on the run, and Shogo, as we fast forward, is going to clean up our only pentakill of the Swiss stage. What a performance from the 80 carry of Ole Miss.
On the Varus, on the Lethality Varus, still able to snipe people out. You see there that BMFX still is very strong on the Callista, but not as good of a late game champion as that Jinx that we saw in the game against Taco. So even though they're able to fight back a little bit, it is still Ole Miss decidedly in the lead. You see Goo try to jump in, immediately sniped out. And this is a 2v3 here, Hawk, but somehow Ole Miss still feels confident to fight, and they should be damn right about it because Shogo is so strong. They're going to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 2v4 at one point, and Stray, Shogo, they turn it around. Again, kill score was close, but the game pretty solidly in Ole Miss's hands, as this time the early game struggles for Fly Fam did go punished. But we're jumping straight into the team fights between ISU and Reluminate. As Grapes, what do we say about this team? Bangers only! As I want to challenge any play-by-play caster out there to try to follow this team fight and call it, because it is all over the place.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that right now because it's looking pretty complicated, but it is Reluminate actually coming out to a pretty good lead over the Redbirds. Remember, they are the lower seed compared to ISU. Looks like ISU is going to get that Baron, but will they be able to escape? Shimmer on his signature Viego, able to find the kill onto Disconnector, and it's Reset City as it is Reluminate winning that fight and up controllably here around the Elder.
Yeah, and Reluminate, they got the soul for that Baron as well, so it was a huge lead, but now around the Elder, clutch smite from Cross, he dies for it. Crucell, even though the Gnar ultimate was good, ISU with that Elder Dragon, they're going to be able to clean up the kills with 2 members still alive, and Grapes, they actually take control. They get a Baron with that advantage, but the engage goes awry. Cross, he's a little too far forward. Reluminate in their base. They're going to stand up to the Redbirds, and here comes the underdog. They're going to run down and look at Shimmer. Taking the portal, no fear into everybody on this Viego. Don't give this guy one of his signature picks, because what he can do to you is clean you off the map, Grapes. In the end, this is going to be an ace in favor of Reluminate, and they actually take down the Redbirds to qualify for the tournament and improve their record to 3-1.
Nice play by Conveying or Papa there at the end of that fight. Let's go over to Abandoned Kittens against Carolina Reapers. The Kittens, remember, started 0-2. They really need to make sure that they win this one to stay in it. And you can see right now, it's going well in the bottom lane. The dive has gone 1 for 1 so far, but it looks like they are going to try to finish this off. Devin on the Varus has been a win condition for this team the entire tournament, and he's going to continue to do so here in this one.
Yeah, I want to point out it is a Camille support for Jimmy Coy. That's something that I think we expect to see more as the tournament progresses. Now, was not all sunshine and rainbows here for Abandoned Kittens, as Devin, not the only AD carry that's going to be fed, as the Sivir firing those boomerangs through, and look at the flank from Bob Timer coming behind the tower. It's going to be a triple kill going over to Carolina Reapers. They're actually pretty much in this game, but Devin, if you leave him untouched, he will do things like this.
Yeah, I don't see anyone hitting him. He's got 2 kills already, and he is here to clean up the rest of the fight. Nice job again by Lojaz and Solidify to keep themselves, really tanky and making sure that Devin has this space. And it looks like even with them trying to chase him down with the Cassante in the area, Devin does not care. He went crazy mode in this one and brings Abandoned Kittens all the way to that decider after starting 0-2.
Yeah, Devin did not want to get knocked out of this tournament, and now the Abandoned Kittens have one last shot to try and qualify. Do or die in the 2-2 match, but another match that could lead to elimination for one team. We've got the Nameless versus Benefactor's Revenge, as this was a competitive one in the early game. Things pretty slow in this game, but Sama getting big on the Mordekaiser, his opposite number getting big on the Garen, as everybody dying around the Void Grubs, but it was Benefactor's Revenge with a small early game lead.
Yeah, the top laner is really going at it. Looks like a sub for that team as Benefactor's playing with J-Bear here in this one. But we now got to go down towards the bottom lane here. Excelsis getting a kill onto Trash Panda. Still a decent lead here for Benefactors as they are the higher seed. However, things still very, very close as we fight around this dragon.
Yeah, and it's a Soul Dragon at that. I mean, you feel like Nameless, they have to secure this because Smolder just hit 225 stacks. They're not able to win it. It doesn't matter how fed Sama is. He does survive the burn. He actually kills Excelsis, but the fight still won by Benefactor's Revenge, and it feels like it's over. Soul stacking has been ended, but the Nameless, they got a couple picks. They got a Baron, and here they come on the turn. Benefactors wanted to prevent that one from going over, but look at the rundown onto the Smolder. They're going to stop at nothing to eliminate the carry, and the Ignite burning, and the Nameless into the base before Smolder respawns with the Baron. And they're actually going to knock out Benefactor's Revenge and improve to 2-2 for the second consecutive tournament.
Man, a huge game from Sama there on the Mordekaiser. That looks like the late game Smolder doesn't always win you those games. We also had a big upset in that 1-2 matchup as Misfits, the 32 seed that we looked at earlier today, upset UCI, knocking them out of the tournament after going 4-1 in Open Qualifier number 1. A bit of a fall from grace for the Anteaters. We hope to see them again later on this year. But man, Misfits from 32 to 2-2, now in a do or die best of 1.
Yeah, Purdue Northwest also winning that collegiate river match down there in the 1-2. Colorado Boulder unfortunately getting eliminated. Wang's Revenge staying alive, as well as Phoenix 5. Up in the 2-1 matches, we've got Lotus taking care of business against BlackRock. A lot of the favorites taking care of business and sending teams like ISU, BlackRock Esports, Castleberry Clown Gaming all down to that 2-2 match. And a lot of teams that we like here, Grapes, in this middle pack. And unfortunately, only a few of them can qualify.
Let's take a look at who's playing each other here in this final round 5. We have our final upper bracket 4-0 matchup between Winthrop and Ole Miss. That is a rematch of that semifinal that we saw that went all the way to 3 games in the first qualifier. The 3-1 games mostly for seeding, but that can still remain pretty important. And then here are the 2-2 games. Very, very strong teams on both sides, and it's sad that we have to say goodbye to 6 of them at the conclusion of this best of 1.
Grapes, I mean, these are teams, all of them, we said, could have made the group stage, and unfortunately only 6 of them now can. But let's dive into the highlights and find out which ones. Of course, before we get there, we got to decide who is going to go undefeated and be your number 1 overall seed heading into the GSL stage, and things getting started early as Ole Miss trying to play around the bottom lane as they so often do. They get punished, and now it's Winthrop's turn to go aggressive, and they get a big lead. Look at mobility yet again on the Lucian for 1-5.
Yeah, Sword on the Twisted Fate having a great game, winning that big team fight here after things were still somewhat close, but this is really what did the deed. Stray trying his best in a 1v1 scenario, but Chucky's on the Milio able to keep his AD carry alive, and with the collapse from Denethor, it was another dominant win for Winthrop University. Turns out that round 2 game that they had over Misfits, that was the longest game that they had the entire open qualifier. They smashed through this one and are your number 1 seed going to the group stage.
No doubts at all, Winthrop, they're coming into this tournament perhaps with a chip on their shoulder for not being able to win the last one, and they want to put any doubts about them being a favorite to rest, as now we've got Team Fish Taco against Gentle Hearts in a 3-1 match, as things getting started off early with a nice pop blossom from Ariandel. But the fight, the health bars are still very high here for Gentle Hearts, as Anime Girl is going to start getting a couple kills.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to try for the collapse, but Sudsy still keeping the rest of his team alive from behind with less than 200 HP, and Taco had a pretty big lead over Gentle Hearts as we head into the base, but look at this huge ultimate from Ariandel, and Soul on the Aatrox had one of the games of his career. It's been an illustrious one, but he absolutely popped off in this team fight.
And it is great to see Soul back playing on form. He was definitely one of the stronger top laners, I think, this week, Grapes. A big part of the reason why Gentle Hearts is performing well. I know there were doubts, perhaps, about his performance, but quadra kills like that, and now he is tasked yet again with saving the base, showing that he is still a player that can play at the highest levels. Levitate going to get dunked. Team Fish Taco, their struggles with ending the game continuing.
Yeah, and it looks like things could get messy again, but a nice shuffle from Sudsy, and Soul gets one shot. He had 15 kills, but it wasn't enough as Sudsy had a game of his own. Shout out to Tony Top as well. Despite the Aatrox getting strong, he still had a nice return as it's Taco ending 4-1 on the weekend.
Definitely a battle of some strong side laners as we have our last 3-1 match for this highlight reel, and it's going to be Lotus up against Pulsar, 2 teams that we've not seen too much from so far. And look at Pulse trying to prevent the dive, but Robbie Bob and his... Wait a minute. Sorry, Forsen, it showed up as Robbie Bob, but Forsen was getting kills, and it's a close game out of the early game.
Yeah, and still a really nice game for Pulse at the start. Take a look at Lunar on the Callista here, able to jump over the wall to finish the kill onto Robbie Bob and pick up a big fight win for Pulse. We head around to this dragon. It's still Pulse in a good spot, but this is where Lotus's team fighting really takes over. Forsen on the Xayah having a massive team fight. Lunar not able to do enough. It's a triple kill. They're going to lock him down for another one as well. And that was all that it took for Lotus to jump up to 4-1 with their new look roster.
And a good showing from Pulse as well, keeping things really competitive. Kryra in particular having a big game on the Viego. We saw a couple big Viego games this past weekend, but it was unfortunately not enough. I think Pulse still going to have high hopes going into the group stage, but Lotus, they are a part of that top 6 for a reason. But now, let's get into the 2-2 matches, starting off with Phoenix 5 against Castleberry. And it is going to be Castleberry getting that early lead as Nightstar yet again on the Zeri, feeling strong.
But not too fast. Here comes Phoenix 5 again. Shorter Ace is not unfamiliar with being in these 2-2 matchups. He's looking to try to find another engage onto Barlow, but they one-shot Moss a little bit too early, and now Castleberry able to pick up this kill, and now around the base, they're able to take over. Nightstar having a big game, and despite dying here in this one, it is Castleberry, the lower seed, taking down some of our fan favorites on Phoenix 5, knocking them out in the Swiss stage.
Yeah, shorter race. He tried to channel the legend of DK Crew, but unfortunately it fell short as our Collegiate Boomers are going to take a nice win. Now, on to Abandoned Kittens versus Nameless. Abandoned Kittens, they want to replicate the performance they had last tournament, whereas the Nameless, they do not want to fall 2 and 3 yet again, as solidified on the Aatrox. He is big. Riverside picking up that kill, and Abandoned Kittens, it's looking like they're in a good spot in this one, but the gold's still so close.
And uh-oh, here comes another Xayah. This time it's Hub for the Nameless, going crazy here. The Kittens seemed like they were in control for a lot of it, but it was that fight, a Baron, and then a march straight down mid lane, less than 27 minutes, and Abandoned Kittens have their split end.
Yeah, Abandoned Kittens, they fall short, and shout out to the Nameless, a team that has been seeded low 2 tournaments in a row. In the first one, they go 2-3, and this time around, they pick up that coveted 3-2. Taking the advice of perhaps just winning. Big ups to those players deserving of their slot. But now, Option 33 against Nigel's last tiles. And Option 33, they are up massive in this early game.
Yeah, and looks like they're so far ahead, they can go for any play, right? Well, maybe not this far under the tower. Evan Lionelazak comes in for a big engage. They have Sour finishing off a couple of kills as well, and that all of a sudden makes things a little bit interesting here, Hawk. Now Nigel's in the kill lead, but they still have PC on the Jacks super far ahead. Alongside Zatsmod on this ADTF, they're going to try to split push their way to a victory. We're 40 minutes into this one. They're on to the Nexus turrets, but Sour able to keep himself alive with a big heal this Under Sky and make sure that that split push was deterred. Nigel's one of the lower seeds, making their way in. Another upset here over Option 33.
Yeah, and a big one at that. Option 3, they put everything on the line, but the base race not enough. Clown Gaming against BlackRock now. 2 teams that yet again both made the group stage in our last tournament. Only one may now advance. BlackRock coming in with a very new roster, and they want to try to keep it up. And look at Sushi. What's he playing? Grapes. That is a vein coming out for the 17-year-old AD carry. Finding 3, now 4 kills on the board. Flashing over the Seraphine route just for fun to try to clean up this fight. And oh boy, will he.
He's playing slow, playing steady, and he's 5-0, looking to pick up a couple more kills. Gets hit by the sleep here for Damons, and that might mean it's a little bit scary, but look at him continue to do so much damage, take control of this game. It was Clown really struggling in the early game, and it looks like BlackRock going to escape after going 2-2.
And Grapes, in the reveal show, we said that Sushi, a name that you all might want to have your eyes on. And I think games like this proving why a young AD carry, you love to see prospects like that popping off. As now, ISU against Misfits. It is one of our favorites to watch up against a team with an incredible story. Only one of them may now proceed, and it is another close game. As ISU, it looks like they're winning the early fights, but Misfits able to trade back. Nice shockwave, though, from Drew. Able to keep Cross alive that little bit longer. And hang on a minute. Is Misfits over diving? No. Still just a 1-for-1. Game deadlocked. Misfits barely 1,000 gold in the lead as yet another team fight gets started. Cross trying to buy space, but the Misfits so tanky, and Meslo on the Gragas with a big body slam.
Yeah, able to peel out really well. Cozy dying. He was one of the bigger players in this game. They get a kill on the Drew Dozer, but it's just so wonky. Eventually, ISU going to walk away with this fight win. But it's still anyone's game as we head towards this mid lane. A big bomba, though, out of Meslo, and that might just about do it. He had a great game in this decider.
Yeah, Meslo really doing well. Both top laners yet again. I like the shout out to Cozy. Doing fantastically, and unfortunately, the Misfits, our number 32 seed, does fall in the Swiss. The Redbirds will book themselves yet another ticket to the group stage. They're looking to replicate their success at the last tournament and try to make it to the knockouts. But you can see our final Swiss matchups here on the board. A couple of upsets in those final rounds with Castleberry, Nameless, and Nigel's Last Tiles being our 3 teams seeded outside the top 16 to be able to advance. Meanwhile, Abandoned Kittens, Option 33, and UCI unfortunately falling. Phoenix 5 as well, that 17 seed dropping out.
Yeah, some things always kind of stay the same, it seems, Hawk. We got 3 teams outside of the top 16 keeping their spot and earning their ticket despite not having the expectation of the selection committee. And let's take a look at the final standings here for the Swiss stage. Starting with that higher seeds, these are the teams that will be participating in the group stage next week.
Yeah, and you can see all of these teams again. Castleberry, Nigel's Last Tiles, The Nameless, shout out to them. And Grapes, our top 6 that we said was going to be so strong. Winthrop, Blue Otter, CCG, TFT, Lotus, and Ole Miss. Despite some trials and tribulations throughout this open qualifier for teams like Blue Otter, like Lotus, dropping to some upsets, they do end up being our top 6 at the end of the Swiss. Everybody else filling out in those 3-2 slots. Surely looking to play spoilers, but it's going to be a tough road.
Yeah, shout out to CCG. They had a couple of subs come in. They're going to have their full roster ready for games in the group stage, presumably. And let's take a look at some of the teams that we're unfortunately going to have to say goodbye to. While they did pick up 10, 5, or 0 points in the case of Pick Me Galio, there unfortunately are not any teams in here that were in that top 4 in points. And so for all these teams, unfortunately, their season does end after this weekend.
Yep, and definitely our hearts go out to these teams. We're hoping to see them back in the summer split, but their road does end here, meaning we are down to 16 teams here in the open qualifier. But Grapes, I did get a chance to sit down with the new bottom lane, or should I say half a new bottom lane, of Black Rock Esports. Sushi and Pacus are the newest victims of the Hawk Jungle experience in yet another episode of Riverhawk Talk. Let's check it out.
I think he show us at least then.
Oh,
For sure.
oh,
I want to say
no.
that.
Oh, no.
I'm batting Poppy for you.
Okay, all right. You know what? I've been strategically playing like low mechanic champions in this series so far, so I don't embarrass myself too hard.
Well, I mean, I'm just like, even if you can't.
No, it'll be.
I trust you.
See, you guys say you trust me. I'm the one that's really trying to put my trust in you. Like, if all else fails, I have this like challenger bot lane to carry me. Hang on, wait. What? I've been. What?
Oh, that's unfortunate.
no.
My pick has
man.
been stolen. I have heard that you guys have a 10-year age gap. Is this true?
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah.
Do we have any like common interests outside of League, of course?
Good question.
Maybe we'll discover something about ourselves right now.
Personally, I love playing music, especially piano.
Played a bit of violin back in my days, but I haven't done music in like about 10 years. So
When did each of you start playing League?
I started 11 years ago in season 3 when I was 6.
Wow. What? First of all, the fact that you were 6 in season 3 scares me too. But also, like, what?
for me, it was about 10 years ago. Like, you know, same thing, but age gap. Okay.
Nice. My bot lane is better. See, this is what I mean. Like, this is why I put my faith in you guys. You're wrong to put your faith in me.
What was your first champion you played? Fuck. We're asking the questions now.
No, I love it. Gragas has always been like my beloved. He's been the one I have always enjoyed the most, pretty much forever. Did I win this?
I'm watching. I believe.
I tried to flash the Q.
Yeah, that's fine. You can have a sushi and counter too.
Okay, yeah.
Oh. Well, this is my first competitive tournament I've done in my whole life, actually. I did a lot of French Canadian in house with Pocus, and he's actually the one that asked me if I wanted to try and do some games with them.
Okay, so base Pocus. Or is it Pocus or Pocus?
Both are fine, but I think well, I don't even know which one. It's meant to be Pocus, actually. Yeah.
I have been living a lie.
You know, both of them are fine.
I've been calling you Pocus since 2021.
As somebody who 22nd. It's spicy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've played a long time. People know that, and I wasn't always good, but I think I'm good today. Played with a lot of ADCs. You know, I played notably like Tomo and Wixie. Like Tomo is not LCS, right? And Wixie, WF Academy. Like I will say, right before they made it, you know, I was playing with them, and I don't think they have anything on Sushi. You know. Sushi for LCS in the next 2 years. That's the goal.
I would love to.
Bro, Sushi for LCS in the next couple years and Sushi to carry this game today. This guy is ghosting at me. What a weirdo.
I got you. You guys win these.
Oh wait, the top lane is there. What?
I'm diving this.
Okay. Thank you. Overall, I'm fairly confident into TFT. Last time, you know, I did not reboob, and we had the bot lane's number. Like, we really blew them up in the bot lane. And I think Inoribi, I think Sushi's a bit better than Inoribi to start some heat, you know, because he also left us. Depending on some circumstances, we could have Kitsuo playing, but maybe not, and we'll see. But with both jugglers, pretty confident. I see the run, you know, TFT, we run them, then we beat Robbie Bob, and then we move on.
Hell yeah. And then we move on. From there, like, the sky's the limit once we beat Robbie Bob.
Yeah, Robbie Bob is the final boss.
To be honest, I think the names, like obviously Faker is like the player everyone just loves, but I like Smoothie.
I'm so bad!
I was gonna say something, I just don't remember.
Oh, we were talking about Faker, and then I flashed in and looked like an idiot. I think that's what happened.
Oh no.
What?
Okay.
Not the FF!
Also, obviously, this is my first tournament, and I feel like just playing with my team, I feel like I'm gonna get better and better. And like, I know that the first weekend we went 3-2, and I'm super happy about it. But at the same time, I'm a little bit like sad that we didn't continue the team, like the 5-0 that they did the first OQ, and I was like wishing, oh, I hope they don't think it's about like it's on me or anything like that. And actually, I'm super happy to hear Pocus say all these nice stuff about me, and thankful.
Kind of want to shout out to my teammates from the first OQ that are still there. You know, Decoy and Kitsuo. Like, I think both of them are like very, very good players that are underestimated, a bit like me. But I think these players belong in NACL.
Last thing, where can the people find you on social media? Any Twitters, Twitches, anything like that they can see more of you?
Twitch TV/LowPocus daily, by the way. Every day I stream, and I could use more fans, you know? That's it.
Absolutely. Make sure you catch those daily streams. Sushi, how about you?
On Twitter, Sushi Lol.
Sushi Lol.
I'll get him started on streaming in the next few months.
Hell yeah. That's what I love to hear. Hey, more content is always good content. Well, Sushi, Pocus, thank you all so much for joining me. That's all for Riverhawk Talk this time, but we'll get back to the show. Thanks so much one more time to Sushi and Pocus for joining me on a Riverhawk Talk, putting up with maybe a little bit of Hawk and Sushi. I gotta say, I don't think anyone's pinning things on you after how hard you popped off in that open qualifier, I've got to say. But, Grapes, now we're down to 16 teams in the tournament with an entire GSL stage still left before us, including BlackRock Esports. So, perhaps, let's bring up the groups and see what we're dealing with.
Well, hold on. You flamed the int counter for Sushi. He had like 14 kills. You did him dirty there a little bit here. I don't know.
All, that was all Pocus. That was all Pocus.
Was too much, but okay. Well, you know, carried in that game, carried throughout a lot of the Swiss. Let's take a look at the groups again. As you said, the top 6 teams are where we really think there's a ton of strong performers. Winthrop and Blue Water swapping is basically the only difference from the original seeds that we have in that top 6. But still, a lot of exciting contenders that could make it in. And each group, Hawk, has kind of their own personality a little bit. And you would imagine, potentially, each of these teams before the games, tuning into some music, having a playlist that matches their mood for this game. And so that is what we are going to try and figure out here today as we go through the groups one by one.
You know, exactly. We could talk and tell you, oh, this group's interesting, this group's not, right? But Spotify Daylist, I think, has a better way of describing genres and moods better than a regular human really ever could. So, Grapes, perhaps we dive in at Group A first, and we take a look at not only everything about these groups, but what their Spotify Daylist would be. Starting with Energy Cat Thursday, as this is a group, Grapes, that we're expecting to be middle of the road in terms of interesting. It's going to be energetic for sure, as Winthrop, I think they're a clear favorite. The Nameless perhaps just happy to be here. But FlyFam and Gentle Hearts both starting the Swiss 3-0, and now on a collision course in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of your basic group, right? Like, everyone's kind of feeling good because you had, like, especially the top 3 seeds in this one going 3-0 to start things off. But you also have, like, the traditional favorite at the top, underdog in the bottom, and then 2 teams trying to fight things out in the middle. So they're vibing. They have some good energy. They got some cat-like reflexes heading into this weekend of games. But overall, I mean, still a pretty interesting group, as you said. I'm specifically interested about those 2 teams in the middle with Fly Family and Gentle Hearts because they definitely had some good showings, and the only reason that they are 3-2 is because they lost some really close games to some very solid teams.
Yeah, and we might see those teams play twice, depending on how things go, but they do at least play this weekend on Saturday. So that's going to be a can't-miss matchup. I think that's going to tell us a lot about the strength of both of these teams, because I know, Graves, both you and I have them tier listed pretty similarly coming out of the Swiss stage. But something worth noting about this group as well, Grapes, we've taken the liberty of talking about maybe some of the lanes to watch for each of these groups, aside from just their Spotify playlist mood. And what's the lane that maybe embodies the Energy Cat Thursday more than anything else? It's got to be the top laners. I mean, come on, we've got, oh, excuse me, I said the wrong thing. It's the supports. Wow. It's Chookies, Metro, renamed from Skytech, Rox 908, and Trash Panda down there in the support position. I mean, could you ask for more from this spot?
I think just the bot lanes in general, very, very strong here
Yeah.
in this group specifically. You have players like BMFX and Mobility alongside Noribi and Hub, who also had some good performances. But the support specifically were an interesting one to take a look at because we had we have some players who have been to like promotion tournaments and have been in tier 2 with Skytech and Rock specifically, or Metro, I should say, at this point. And Trash Panda, I think, had a very solid performance for the Nameless throughout their run, has had some collegiate experience, but this is the first time he's making a top 16 and looking to make his impression on a group of very, very experienced supports.
Yeah, Chucky's, of course, a former collegiate champion as well. And I want to talk about this Nameless team a little bit because this is a team, we say they're happy to be here, and I think they very much are, but seeded the 25, I believe, or 24 at this tournament. This is the higher seed of the 2 that they played at, and they have really impressed us in particular, going 2-2 at OQ1 and falling. They made a couple of roster changes heading into this one, namely adding Daemons onto their squad in the jungle and actually elevating to that 3-2, and I think this is a team of players looking to make their mark on the space.
Yeah, I mean, despite kind of being seated in a similar spot, this time they were able to get that win over Abandoned Kittens, where Abandoned Kittens were in that decider and then ended up winning. This time they ended up losing, which ends up being a little bit unfortunate. But, I mean, Hawk, out of this group of 4 teams, I mean, we never made official predictions last time around. Maybe we could do it this time.
Yeah,
who do you think are the 2 teams that are going to get out of this group?
Get your clippers ready, boys, because I'm sure people are going to flame us for this, but we got to put our money where our mouth is. We'll fall on the sword so that you don't have to. Let's get the predictions on the screen right now. As Grapes, we didn't talk too much about Winthrop University, but that's why, because I expected both of us to have them getting out probably as the first seed as well. That 5-0 speaks for itself. Winthrop, they are clearly the favorites for this tournament yet again. But I see we're not in agreement over the second team out. Tell me why, FlyFam, in a few words.
I mean, it was very fun to watch FlyFam at the start. We actually followed their Swiss run throughout both days on our Twitch channel, and their wins were very fun to watch. And even though they kind of sacked the early games a little bit, I think that's definitely going to mean that they will struggle against a team like Winthrop. Their team fighting with BMFX, if they can get the right draft, get the right setup, I think actually matches up decently well with a team like Gentle Hearts. And these are 5 very experienced players in Fly Family here as well, Hawk. And although top lane might be a little bit worrisome, especially with how good Soul played this weekend, I still like the general composition of this team. And it's a very close matchup. It's the 8 versus 9 seed. Could go either way, but I'm going to go with Fly Fam.
You know, fair enough. Dare I say that the Gentle Hearts bottom lane could match BMFX and Metro and maybe even win. Roxy's been a monster in the early game so far. But, Grapes, it is now time to move on to Group B, as that Group A matchup will surely be exciting. And speaking of exciting, this one is a doozy as Grapes. It is the Heroic Cannon Afternoon. This one, we have all bets off. Group of death. Somebody's got to be a hero in this to get out.
Yeah, everyone kind of thinks that they're the cannon. They're the main character in this group. You have the champions. You have 2 teams like Illinois State and Nigels, who both have had very surprise performances, either in this open qualifier or in the first qualifier for ISU's case. And you have Polestar making some new roster changes. They are one of the most well-known brands in this tournament, and so they also want a good performance after struggling a little bit, not making it into the quarterfinals last time around. But as you said, Hawk, chaos all the way through the board for these group of 4 teams. And even though Blue Otter won the whole event, you have to remember they're not necessarily invulnerable and could potentially be challenged by one of their lower counterparts.
Yeah, a lot of Blue Otters wins in the open qualifier, not particularly convincing. They weren't bad wins. They were somewhat clean, but they weren't dominating in the way that a team like Winthrop's was. And Polestar, remember, they were the best of the rest last time around, but they've made some big changes, Grapes. They've got Shocky now in at the top lane, as well as having Lunar and Just One in bottom. I think there's been a lot of conversation amongst people in the space about whether these changes are upgrades, side grades, downgrades, what have you. But I think the fact remains that Polestar, they should be in the thick of it as things progress.
Yeah, I mean, we take a look at the matchup or the position that is going to be really close between these 4 teams, or, you know, that we're going to be really having our eye on. It's going to be the junglers here this time, and I think that is no surprise, as Music, Kryra, Cross, and Evan Lai, as you said, kind of take on that heroic cannon mindset. I love that playlist. They think that they're kind of the main characters of their teams, and each have had incredible carry performances to get their teams their recent success.
Yeah, I think Cross has been the secret sauce for the Redbirds. He's making Drew Dozer look like Faker. We've talked a lot about how good Music and Kryra are as well. Music was the jungler of the tournament, I believe, last time around as well. So wanting to replicate that. And Evan Lai, a name that we have not seen as much, but has been knocking around the space for a little bit. Someone that has impressed us, I think, on a lot of the teams that they've played on, and now we get the chance to watch them in this GSL stage. But let's get the predictions on screen for Group B, as who do we got getting out of the group of death? Grapes, I imagine, yep, both of us got Blue Otter, and yet again, we are split between Polestar and ISU.
These are the 2 groups where you know, it was possible to have like very different opinions in terms of that second seed. I think we might be a little bit more aligned as we get later on here, but I think Polestar looked pretty good after making some of those changes. Lunar and Just playing pretty well down in there in the bottom lane. Remember that Pulse was 3-1 into 3-2. ISU took a couple of losses. They were 2-2 into 3-2. And in my head, those are 2 different states to be in. And so for now, I think that Pulse might have the opportunity to make their first quarterfinal.
Definitely fair, but for me, you can just never count out the Redbirds in the team fight, and that is what makes them so scary. Keep your eyes on Nigel's last tiles, though, Grapes. I think both of us feel like they are the most likely 4th seed to get out of their group, so let's see if they're able to do it. But we got 2 more groups left to go, and one of them is Group C. We got another playlist up on our screen, and this time it is the Time Travel Aux approved morning. I have no idea what the hell any of that means, except for maybe it's calling these players old.
Well, some of the players are old. Some of the players are a little bit more maybe experienced, and you know, when we looked at the
term experience as opposed to old.
Seasoned, potentially. Also, when you look at the like description of the playlist that our producer Leanne stuck in. There was a lot of back to school music coming in, a lot of collegiate representation here, not only with Ole Miss but also with the Wang and Castleberries. And again, we're going back in time a little bit with that revamped CCG roster that I am so excited to see in full force this weekend.
Yeah, Bradley yet to return to the Rift so far. Grapes, actually, do we have confirmation whether or not Bradley will be playing this weekend? Or
as far as I know, he'll be playing in
right.
his first matchup against Castleberry.
So we got the return to the mid lane from North America's prodigals. Sun, I'm sure that is going to be exciting to watch. Instinct as well, hopefully feeling better and back in there for a CCG team that people have expectations could win the entire tournament. But Ole Miss, it feels like they're playing better than ever. And for that reason, Grapes, I mean, this is going to be a very difficult group for Castleberry or anyone to get out of.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, I think they played really well. They have the advantage over CCG in the fact that they have had more time together. But of course, when you look at name value and how skilled that some of CCG's players have been in recent memory, when you think back to Instinct getting a pentakill in LCS, Bradley being one of the best young prospects on Team Liquid, and Wildcard if you go back a little bit further, and of course, Yukino, as we said, former MVP candidate in the NACL. This team is crazy. And that's not even to mention Crimson and Trevor to round out those sides.
Yeah, playing so well in that first tournament. We can pull up the lane to watch. For CCG, it may be mid lane with Bradley this weekend, but overall, we are going back to the bottom lane. Instinct, Shogo, Deathwalker, Nightstar. So much experience on that side. Shogo, a back-to-back collegiate champion. Instinct, bringing that Challengers League experience. I mean, could you ask for anything more?
And don't rule out the 80 carries in the bottom half of this group as well. We looked at all 4 teams when considering which lane was going to be the most exciting. Nightstar, a big carry for Castleberry. I would imagine you ban Zeri against this team because he is so good on it. Deathwalker as well had some pretty good moments for Wang. Remember, they took a 2-0 win, I believe, over UCI in their first round of the group stage last qualifier. So still a good opportunity for them to get some wins on the board if things go the right way.
And Wang's Revenge in particular, excellent performances from both their solo laners at the last tournament allowed them to find some wins and also be very competitive in their losses. Debonair, Boil the Oil, players that we want to have our eyes on. But it is now prediction time as Grapes. This one, I believe, let's see what the predictions are. We were pretty much in agreement that this is the most clear-cut group. CCG and Ole Miss feel like they are going to be the final boss. But did we both put Ole Miss as the 1 seed getting out?
I didn't order it I didn't order it in any particular direction. I'd have to think about it a little bit more when considering which one.
I was trying to be spicy with that, saying Ole Miss, the synergy was going to keep them as the first seed.
I wouldn't be surprised because of that experience together that you said existed. And CCG might be a team that needs a little bit more scaling. I would probably put CCG first just because of the name value on those players, but yeah, who knows? I think it really could go either way. Like, this is the most important matchup there at the top.
Yeah, that one, those 10 points for first place in the group could be big. Wang's Revenge, Castleberry, it's not looking good for them. But look, they already, Castleberry in particular, upset to get here, so maybe they can do it again. But we have one last group, Group D, and it is our emo revival late night Grapes, as it's another group that I think we feel could be a little bit more cleaner cut, but there's some more substance to this one, perhaps.
There's some dark forces kind of looming around here, Hawk. You got Reluminate, who had a 3-1 start to this Swiss stage. You have BlackRock as well, who have this really, really impressive bottom lane that like kind of did not lose a step compared to some of the other changes that this roster did make. But overall, the reason that it's a revival in that sense is that all of these 4 teams made roster changes from the first qualifier, which means we're looking at some new revived teams. However, still some dark things in the bottom of the group and could cause some potential upsets if things go awry.
Yeah, especially, I think, Grapes, correct me if I'm wrong, we're expecting Team Fish Taco and Lotus to perhaps not be quite as strong as some of the other top seeds in the other groups. Obviously, it feels like this top 6 is very, very favored to win their matches, but they could potentially be more exploitable for teams like Reluminate and like BlackRock that had some impressive showings in that Swiss stage.
Well, let's take a look at our matchup to watch, or our lane to watch, and that's going to be in the top lane here for this group. Some very, very exciting top laners, specifically towards the bottom half. I think Tony Top and Porsche, their names speak for themselves, but Crucial had a really good qualifier, and Decoy has been one of the most solid performers on this BlackRock team, a team that had players like Inori B and Robbie Bob in that last tournament.
Yeah, I mean, get out of here with this top lane. There's literally not a bad name on this list. Every single one. They are going to be going blow for blow. And I think Porsche, Crucial, and Decoy in particular, they want a shot at the king, Tony Top, because I think a lot of people have him on their board as the #1 top laner, either him or Denethor. So it is definitely going to be some explosive top side brawls here in Group D. And really, the door open, I think, for every team. Team Fish, Taco, and Lotus potentially favored, but Grapes, one final round of predictions left to do. Who's getting out of Group D and why?
I think this could be a bit volatile in terms of the in regards to the fact that I could see a situation where Lotus or TFT really struggle, kind of like what Taco did in the first qualifier, ending up bombing out before making it to the quarterfinals with their roster. Even though it's the revived Tony Top team this time around, still potential for some volatility. However, I think we're both in agreement that these two teams are the favorites. You have Lotus getting ahead of TFT, though, which I find interesting.
Yeah, I do have Lotus ahead of TFT. Again, I think this group has room available for the upsets, but these two teams are definitely the favorites to get out, and I think it would be foolish to predict against them. However, TFT, they have some weaknesses in their play. We saw it in the highlight packages. This is still not a complete team to me, even though they've got the band back together from last spring. So I think this Lotus roster with Odd Orange and Robbie now, it feels like they should be able to push TFT and potentially exploit those weaknesses, get out as the first seed.
Well, there you have it. That's our preview of all 4 groups. The first week of GSL starts in just a couple of days. But before we go through the schedule, our power rankings and all of that, I actually decided to sit down with a couple of different players, and Hawk actually, with an old twist on a familiar classic game to see how well we knew some of our qualifier players. Let's take a look. One of my favorite games this year has been a game called Immaculate Grid. It's by Sports Reference, and it's a challenge where you fill in a grid of athletes that match each corresponding characteristic in every row and column. Today, we wanted to challenge our NACL qualifier pros with our own little twist of this game. Hawk and myself each created a grid, and we'll be giving our pro players a maximum of 5 minutes to fill in as many of the squares as they possibly can. We'll also be filling in each other's grids, just so we know which one of us knows the qualifier players the best. Let's get into it.
Anything like 2022 and later, I will be very, very good at. 2021, I'll be like mediocre, and if Grapes went even deeper than that, I am very screwed. So we'll see how it goes.
3, 2, 1, go.
100 Thieves LCS, there's some really obvious answers. Literally one split with the 100 Thieves organization that Insanity spent in 2021 spring is pretty good. For wildcard, I can just send Winnie just to get something out, and then I'll come back to that one. Alorum for TFT played in LCS. Made CLOL top 4 played in LCS. I'll just say Niles for right now.
You got about 2.5 minutes in December warning.
Oh, okay, I'm using all my time. Wildcard TFT is gonna be... Daption never played on TFT. Oh, he did? Oh, Daption, great. Supernova TFT. Robbie. Robbie. Did Fnatic ever play on Supernova? Dark Wings played for 100 Thieves. Dark Wings for 100 Thieves wildcard. The Supernova knowledge is really killing me. Oh, I choked, dude. For some reason, I was forgetting all of the players that played in CLOL Top 4 in 2022.
Oh my god, I'm gonna be terrible at this. Okay, Niles for CLOL Top 4 in LCS. 100 Thieves played in LCS. Poom. 100 Thieves next. Who's on wildcard, right? Doxa for CLOL Top 4 in wildcard.
Nice.
Dardoc. He played on TFT.
Yep.
No?
So yeah, TFT
Okay.
and LCS. Startups in there.
I don't even know who's on Supernova right now. I've been watching NACL too, but I feel... oh yeah, wait. They have a good team. I'm so disappointed. Chickies, Supernova, CLOL Top 4.
Yep.
Array?
Yes, Array, Supernova, and 100 Thieves.
Okay. Trevor?
Trevor works for Supernova and Taco. That works.
Yeah. I don't know the rest.
time is up, unfortunately. You got 7. You clutched up there at the end with those 2, Ray and Trevor.
Yeah. Lawrence, he's a beast at that. I remember when he was at HU, I would ask him a pro player, and he would tell me every single team that player played on. He is probably the best guy you're ever gonna get for that game.
Pretty confident, but we'll see, I guess.
Right.
Maybe not when it comes to it. There's Supernova, 100 Thieves, Kenby, Winnie in Wildcard. He made top 4. Robbie Bob as well. That made Seal top 4.
Okay.
And Supernova. Okay, played in LCS and made top 4. Niles, I guess.
Okay, we'll do Niles.
Poom, I guess.
Poom for
think
what,
that's
LCS and 100 Thieves?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
100 Thieves Wildcard.
So,
Brandini, is that one?
dang, that's a good pull. Good pull.
I just remember that.
2021.
Okay. What if they like played like one game?
That counts.
Something?
One
That
game
counts?
counts, yeah.
Rose Thorn played on Taco and LCS.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Nice.
Okay. Daption one for that one. Top right.
Yep, Daption works.
Oh wow, that works. I think I'm completely blank on this one.
You got a minute and 20 seconds.
Oh,
Alright.
that.
There we go. That was the answer I was
Ah, there you
looking
go.
for.
Ha, I got it.
So with
Okay.
10 seconds to spare, Lawrence, you beat the grid. Congratulations.
Let's go.
I'm feeling confident, but I feel like Hawk might be humbling me in just a couple of minutes. Oh man. Okay. Maryville and went to Worlds. I'm just gonna go APA for Worlds in Maryville. Teammates with Tony Top, played with Maryville. I'm gonna go Amazo then here instead. Miss GSL and Maryville. I mean, I'm gonna go PCL because he just missed groups. Dude, oh no. Worlds and Tier 2 trophy. We'll go Zazel for there. I'm just going for the kind of easy ones. Now we can go Yawn for Team Liquid and Worlds as
There you
well.
go.
Oh, you know what? I can go Cozy. Cozy won on Taco Gaming in 2022.
Cozy has never won.
No? Oh, it was Lawrence. Shoot. Oh no, this is bad. Okay. Oh, Tony Top and Tomio were teammates, right?
Yes.
Like on EG. Okay. I'll get that one. I ran out of time. Shoot.
Okay.
Damn, that was hard. I got 6. I was hoping to do a little bit better, but I'll take the 6 out of 9. We'll see what the rest of the players do.
I tell my teammates I never even remember who we just scrimmed or who's on the teams, but I know people. Maryville Tony Top is my guess is iconic.
That's right.
Who's on Maryville? Oh, it was APA.
Yep, that's one.
Tier 2-3 trophy that went to Worlds. Jan. Team Liquid Tier 2-3 that went to Worlds would be... Does Harry count?
I'll give it to you.
Because he was like a 6-man.
I'll give it to you.
Okay. I'll say for the Maryville one, it couldn't possibly be Evan RL. Did he even go to Maryville? I don't think so.
He did, and he did miss.
Oh.
So
Oh,
it counts.
okay. What's the guy's name? The support for Team Liquid Academy in 2020.
The guy that you subbed for?
Yeah, I just can't come up with his name. Miss GSL and has a trophy. Byrax. No idea.
I don't think that's right, actually, and your time is up, unfortunately. The player you're thinking of was Yama, is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
Yama.
Did not miss a GSL stage, so I don't think you would have gotten it anyway.
In my old age, all this stuff has wavered for sure. I can't come up with the names of some people. Like,
How do you feel? Do you think this is gonna go well, or
No, not at all. Like, this is gonna go horribly. But it's fine. Like, it will be fun. Who on Maryville went to Worlds? Was Chippies on their team? I feel like I recognize
Holy sh! That is a crazy pull. That wasn't the one I was looking for, but you got it.
Maryville and formerly teammates with Tony is
Or-
iconic, I guess.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. Who on Maryville missed GSL? Evan RL?
Yeah, he has missed.
Oh.
He missed GSL this week.
Okay, I got 3 of 9. I'm happy with that. I'm not feeling too good about these last. Okay, who went to Worlds and then did well in Academy? Let me think. Oh, was it Zazel?
Yeah, that's another.
Oh
one.
my god, yes, let's go. APA, did he go to Worlds?
Yeah, he did.
Oh my god, I
And
did.
that's your buzzer beater, right? As time expired.
That's not bad. I'm very happy with that.
Rhino was the other person who did this one, and he got 5 as well, and he got the exact same boxes as you. So you're tied with
Rhino is about 15 years older than me. So I'm just saying it's looking good for the Snow Tube Nation again.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. Shout out to Snow, too, for getting chippies. I didn't think anyone would get that. I expected everyone to say APA. He's a real one for that, Grapes.
That and Brandini, the
Yeah,
most
that
impressive
was
polls of
crazy
the
too.
entire video. Shout out. We'll send them out on Twitter if you want to fill the boxes in yourself. I think Hawks, yours is a little bit harder, but it's all right. Maybe that's the challenge mode. I got 6 out of 9, so a pretty nice job there for me, I will say.
Yeah.
We're in our last few minutes, so let's figure out what exactly you are going to be expecting heading into this weekend. Let's start off with our first power rankings of the second qualifier here, Hawk. A lot of changes and a lot of new teams hopping in from our last one. The ups and downs are based off of the seeding that they had in Swiss, and only ISU stayed the same at 10.
Yeah, you know, put your pitchforks away. There wasn't as many knee-jerk reactions in this one because things maybe went a bit more as expected here for the top 16. But again, Winthrop, they're the clear favorites. Blue Otter falling down to 3. They still had a really solid showing, but just unfortunately was not quite up to par with the teams in the 4-0 match, given that they dropped that first game. I think all of the 4-1 teams outside of Ole Miss, honestly, Grapes, gave us reasons to doubt them for one thing or another, and it was really, really difficult to rate Blue Otter through CCG.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, even going into the tournament, when you looked at like all the different committee members and what their seedings looked like, that 3 through 6 or 2 through 6, I should say, or 1 through 6 even, was all over the place. It was really hard to tell where these teams belonged, and I think we'll learn a little bit more, especially as the tournament goes on. I'm excited about Gentle Hearts and Pulsa. They're in that top 8. I think they could be competitive with that other group of 6.
Yeah, I think in particular, Gentle Hearts was a pretty easy 7 seed for us. Pulse through BlackRock, at least for me personally, these teams were also really difficult to rate. I think BlackRock, we've talked about their bottom lane, Reluminate their top side, really being bright spots for these teams, whereas Pulse, FlyFam, and ISU feel like fairly complete packages. But I think for FlyFam and ISU in particular, weaknesses in the early games and perhaps a propensity for funding it a little bit keep them out of the top 8.
Yeah, there are some teams with pretty high volatility. FlyFam definitely one of them. You can see them at 9 this week. Maybe they win a game and jump up to like 5, depending on how
we have no idea.
We'll see.
Or they lose and drop down to like
exactly,
15. Like, it could be either way.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, we'll keep updating our power rankings throughout Tier 3 tonight, but I guess, Hawk, we can move on to our next segment.
Yeah, let's go over to our Tier 3 team of the week. Of course, last week it was a team of the tournament, but we're back with our weekly MVPs with some familiar faces as well as some newer ones. Tony Top, Shimmer, Sword, Mobility, and Rocks 908 getting on the board for Swiss.
Yeah, Tony and Shimmer in their first games of 2024, or actually not even, because Shimmer played in the first qualifier. But this time he made it, and this time they went 3-1 and went into round 5 with a very, very difficult matchup against Blue Otter. But they still looking pretty strong, and Shimmer definitely was a big factor behind it. There were a lot of junglers that kind of had some very solid performances in some games and some like not as good performances in others. We thought Shimmer played very consistently and was a big win condition for Reluminate this entire weekend.
Yeah, and it felt like maybe the best player on his team, Rocks, likewise for Gentle Hearts. Both of them accompanied by their top laners as well with some pretty strong performances. So we wanted to give them a nod for their incredible play. Tony Top, again, a lot of people might have them as their #1 top laner. Him and Denethor were definitely the ones we were picking between. But Grapes, let's be real. We could have made this whole thing Winthrop players with how hard they destroyed this weekend, but we didn't want to do that. I do want to talk about bot lane, because Mobility, if we didn't give it to him after this week, like, we would never hear the end of it. He had to get it. But there were so many bot laners that dropped nukes in this OQ.
Yeah, I think like that was the hardest position to pick, even though Mobility popped off in all 5 of the games at Winthrop Smash, because there were so many amazing performances. If we went through all of them, we'd run out of time.
Yeah.
So I guess we can move on to the schedule, and with that, the announcement that some changes are happening here to the Swiss bracket. All the games starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, with 4 games happening at a time, and they'll be broadcasted live this time around with the addition of some community streamers. We've got our channel, Salty Runback, alongside some other really fantastic community initiatives that we are super excited to share the spotlight with in providing live Tier 3 coverage for all.
Yep, over the next 3 weeks, we're going to have matches, all 4, starting at the same time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and every single one will be live streamed. We are going to be on the tournament realm providing the coverage, of course, with a slight delay for competitive integrity, but everything else will be completely as it happens. So make sure you follow all 5 of these Twitch channels to stay up to date with all of your qualifier action. Of course, Grapes, Tier 3 tonight will be going nowhere. We're still going to be bringing you that every week here on LCS_Challengers, but you're going to be able to catch the matches live as well. Speaking of, let's take a look at our upcoming schedule for the first week of the GSL stage, where we've got Group A and B going toe-to-toe on Saturday. Winthrop, Nameless, right? In that first match, FlyFam GHG, this is a match that we highlighted as potentially very interesting.
Yeah, we also have Blue Water versus Nigels and Pulse versus ISU over on Salty Runback. These 4 channels are always going to provide some coverage of some like traditional coverage, I would say, of all the games. And then Mad Magical is going to hop around, do some crazy content with his streams. I saw he casted a game at 2 times speed for the qualifiers a little bit earlier this weekend. So if you want some crazy stuff alongside your live coverage, make sure to tune into his channel as well. He'll be hopping around finding games on his channel with some of our fellow community casters as well. We'll go on to day 2 of the GSL stage, where we'll be covering Group C and D, and we also have some exciting games here. We have, of course, the 4 of our top 6 in this category, so our first looks in best of 3s with these rosters.
Oh yeah, and I think these are the ones maybe we're expecting a bit more from week 2, but I think Reluminate Lotus, definitely the potential to be very interesting. BlackRock against Taco, I think those Group D games, there is room for upsets. Grapes, we do have a match of the week, and of course that one will be streamed on Salty Runback every single weekend. Whatever the official Tier 3 tonight match of the week is going to be live on our channel, covered by yours truly. The match of the week this week is none other than the showdown in Group B, ISU up against Pulstar. It was really hard to pick between that and FlyFam and GHG, but we felt that this one was going to be very competitive.
When I was deciding between which one of those 2 to think of, I was like, okay, FlyFam, like, they've been so unpredictable. We have no idea what could happen with them. It could be like a big stomp. I know that this game specifically, they're gonna have some crazy team fights. Bangers only for ISU. A new look roster for Pulse. I'm super excited for this one. You can catch it on Salty Runback this Saturday.
And this one gonna mean a lot for knockout stage propositions as well as championship points for both of these teams. But Grapes, we may have hit 8:30, but we still have our top 5 plays of the week to get going. So without any further ado, let's take a look at some of the pop-off moments here from the Swiss stage.
Going to kick things off over with Gentle Hearts Gamers bot lane, Inori B up against CCG. And this was a fight that we talked about in our highlight package. Just watch the individual movements on this guy. Gets away from the Emperor's Divide, able to flash away, and then clean up the rest of his team fight.
Yeah, going on a solo mission to assassinate Trevor, the way he's kiting around skill shots, playing the limits of his champion, and somehow staying alive. I mean, that is what it's all about. Look, we could have made a highlight reel of just AD carry plays. And hey, we're going to continue doing that because our number 4 clip, we've already seen this one before, but it's Shogo, baby.
On the Varus, doesn't matter what champion he's on. Had some really great Varus performances, actually. Not just this game, but another one as well. And yeah, it's hard to not include a pentakill in the top 5 plays, although this one dragged on for a little bit. Still a very impressive showing here for Shogo.
Yeah, very nicely done by him to be able to pick that one up. A player, we've said his name so much, and yet again, making the top 5, but coming in at number 3 now, Grapes. It is going to be a bit of another 80 carry pop-off.
Yeah, Sushi on the vein. Game 5 confidence from the kid. He picks up a champion he knows best and had a great showing here in this one. The 1v2 here specifically is kind of what drew me in for this. Just the ability to kite in this situation and pick up that quadra kill. Great job from BlackRock's bottom laner in a do-or-die situation. Now, Hawk, go to our number 2 play. This is not on stream today, but it was on our Twitch channel. A huge ultimate stolen away from the Nico by Comp9 on FlyFam.
Yeah, and given the situation of the game 2, they're losing by like 7k gold, getting pushed into their base. 5-man Pop Blossom from Comp9 into the 5-man hostile takeover. I mean, that was a banger, and they ended up winning that game as well. But our number one play of the week is the Misfits in the first round, the 32 seed up against 1, still in the Baron and the 4-man engage. We even get a little POV action.
다 죽어.
Yeah,
다 죽어.
shout out to
야,
Selfish.
끝내.
천천히 끝내.
Again at this wombo combo as Misfits, while they did get knocked out, had, I think, one of the best plays of this entire weekend.
Yeah, it was definitely a memorable performance from them, and I think a team that will be excited to see return. But Grapes, that will do it for our top 5 plays of the week. And now a couple minutes overtime, that'll do it for this episode of Tier 3 tonight. We want to thank Rallycry and Riot one more time for having us on the show, as well as our production team, Cyanidance, for all of our graphics and administrative production needs, as well as Camcom pressing all the buttons on vMix, making us look so incredibly good every single week. Grapes, thank you to you for joining me, and thank you to everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week to break down the first week of GSL, and you're not going to want to miss it. Same place, same time, LC_challengers at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. But for all of us here at Tier 3 tonight, I've been Hawk, that's been Grapes. Stay safe, and have a great night.